This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and I've got special guests with us this week. Tyler, how you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it, kind of the same as you having me for your event this week. So we did have a BT12 tournament. Gaia Force Gaming does a bunch of weeklies. I make sure to cover all of their events on their site, and also make sure to check out the Discord and also Tyler's YouTube for more events too. You do them every Monday, right?
Yes, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, and with BT12, we have one more week until we start regional season. I think that's the weekend afterwards. So a really good way to get some practice and just get a lot of reps in for this new format. So we're going to go over we're going to look at the top 8 list from the event tonight. Technically, it's going to probably be yesterday by the end of recording for you on the East Coast. But we did get 4 of these BWGX into the top 8. Then also 2 copies of Hunter, 1 copy of Black War Grey X, as well as 1 copy of Ulforce as well. So what are your thoughts of these decks immediately going into it?
I mean, I think these are some decks you could definitely expect to see. I think Beelzemon X, along with just being a fan favorite, is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Hunters is going to be a deck that it performs pretty well into the meta. And then, I mean, you're going to see these outliers. People love Ulforce. They love Black War Grey. I think so far, from what I've seen from BT12, the format seems relatively healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, BWGX," but I think a lot of it has to be just sheer numbers, right?
Yeah, because
so many people playing it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. And then this was a 22-person event, so take that a little bit into respect for the archetypes for it. And I also think since it is a new format, a lot of people tend to just go to the new stuff immediately, and then they come back to see what they actually like to play at times. So a little bit of experimentation there. But we're going to go over the top placing list for each one of these archetypes. Also, real quick, if you guys want any of the deck lists, they're on this website, as well as it was streamed on my Twitch, which is linked on the website, and it will be re-uploaded to my YouTube as well later this week. But we're going to go to first place. So this is Sergey's first place list here, and he also won your last tournament, right?
Yes. He's consistently in the top 4 to 8 of my events when he plays, and he is a purple boy for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've been inputting yours for the last couple of weeks, and I've definitely seen the name several times pop up, and is choosing to play the BWGX. And real quick, some immediate decision points on here. One, you just have so many level 6s in this deck that you really kind of have to pick and choose which ones make the sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of two X antibodies usually what you see, especially since you can recur them really easily with Rivals Barrage Man. He's only playing 3 Deathlingers. I feel like he saw it every time. He saw all 3 every game. That's crazy. He's only playing 3.
Yeah, I feel like the ratio here that I'm more comfortable with is the swap between the Rivals Barrage and Deathslinger, where you run 3 of the Barrage just for less bricky potential. And 4 of the Deathslinger, especially with he's running 2 of the 7th full cluster, which I know he said on Huang's stream last week that he wasn't sure if he wanted to keep that in, but I think because it came up against Black War Greymon, where they had the protection, he was able to pop it. I think he left it in almost explicitly for that reason.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me for that, and I think it's interesting for just how this deck works in general here. So, and we do have the blast mode for the top end. We have the miss memory boost, and just kind of everything else from there. So, interesting list for this, and just a big congrats for him on his first place with this guy. I think we will be seeing a lot of this deck moving forward, and we do have 3 other copies on the website if you guys want to check them out. But I think in general, everyone has their own ratios of Impmons that they really like. Everyone has their own level 6s and just your ratios. I do like X antibody at 1. 2 I think could be seen, but it's a very very thin on kind of how many choices you can make for this. Very good deck. So let's go to our second place list. So this is Dylan's list, and we ended up seeing him on the stream a lot. You don't get a lot of creative deck choices with this build, I'd say, mostly because you just kind of have to run a lot of the pieces. But it's really interesting to see this deck kind of work and how it churns.
Yeah, and I think he does have kind of some creative ratio choices in terms of he's not just slapping the 4/4/4 rookies with two of a like tech choice.
Yeah,
he's made room. A lot of people tend to run either the Omni Shout or the Astamon. He's made room for both.
Yeah.
He's opted for the fourth of the U for the memory gain, which I get. He's opted. I've seen some people run as little as 2 Watchmaker, but 3 feels good. I mean, the deck is really resilient and it's pretty versatile overall. I think that's its biggest strength. But I will say in the testing that I've done, the Hunter's deck tends to really punish you for making the wrong micro decisions, which is like a lot of Digimon players think in macro decisions. So it can be a little tricky if you don't put in the reps with it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think that it's definitely a lot of micro decisions because you have to choose what you're putting underneath your tamers, which means you get to choose which inheritables you want, right? You have something like Drachmon, which can put stuff to the bottom of your deck that you have to choose there too. You have to make a decision if you want to go into Quartzmon at times because it gives your opponent a lot of memory, but it can lock them down if they don't have the right pieces. So I think this is definitely a deck that really rewards a lot of creative deck style. And I do think like even with moderately similar builds, there will be players who play it a lot differently, which I think is really cool from a design aspect.
Yeah, and I think you do get to make some pretty cool choices. Like, do you want the Akakimons? Do you want the Omni Shoutmons? Do you want even the 2 Armons? I don't feel is super necessary, but they are really good choices.
Yeah.
And then which tamers do you run at which ratios?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely like this guy because he. The 2 Armon, just because you do get the D-Digivolve, that's almost always very, very strong for what you need to do. And it's only on top of the Damimon that you want to do the Digivolving, but you always want to play Damimon as well because it can get you a free Tamer, which is insane in value. And we didn't see a lot of decks with Tamer Destruction in this event today, but I think that's something that will maybe keep this deck in check also moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, not to give away too much, but I feel like the GFG weekly events, we have a lot of people who really like purple, as you could see.
Yeah, we sure do.
We do have a lot of people who like to try the new hotness. So we tend to get pretty, I don't want to say super telling meta breakdowns, but we do get some good practice in for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing for it, right? When you have, a 20-person event can only scale to 500 so well, right? When we have 500 players and especially when some players just run really hot one day, it can make a big difference. But I do appreciate these events just experience for seeing how people play and how people build too. I think that's really unique. So here was Dylan's list, and let's go to our 6th place list. This is Anibal with their Black War Grey X, and I know I've been seeing Anibal do well at some of the tournaments I've been hosting as well, but you kind of have 2 decisions when you go to this new line. Do you want to use it for the new War Greymon stuff, or do you want to go back into like the old reliable Black War Greymon?
And yeah, those are decision points that have to be made, and I think neither is wrong. It just depends on how you decide you want to pilot the deck, like what tools you want to see and what tools you want to use, what you think you're going to come up against, really.
Yeah, and Agumon and Gabumon too, they're both like, this game's been out for a while now, right? There's so many Agumons that are at your disposal. There's so many different creative choices you can make with your lines that I think other archetypes would be very, very fortunate to have, right? So you can really start doing some really particular ratios. We see a lot of 1s and 2s and 3s in this build itself. And again, I think the new line does help you out a little bit. I think the best card is probably the Agumon. I think that's the strongest card. Greymon's okay, Metal Grey's okay as well, but the Agumon is such a good rookie for the deck.
Yeah, and the new Agumon art just to go off of
Yeah.
like the meta for a second, the new art's fantastic for these
Yeah.
guys.
No, it really, yeah. I even during the tournament, I think I took a minute to say, man, these are some really nice looking cards. It's the whole line looks fantastic, really good. So, but yeah, I think that Blackboard Gray X is still in a good spot. Obviously, our good board Greymon X is at 1. I think the biggest thing that this impacts is that you can't really consistently run the black base as well, because you run like Greymon X can't go on top of black Agumons, unfortunately. Well, the new BT11 one can, but so that's something that's maybe going to shift. I don't think the black base was as popular in Japan, anyways, but definitely something we kind of get at minimum potential there. And also, 3 Hades Force, still a really good card. I don't think we saw any cross art today, but I think people are going to be bringing it back in the next couple of weeks as well.
And it does help against Hunter as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah, sorry, Hunter
three,
as well as cross art. Yeah.
3 feels like a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's up there, but
Like
it
two's your sweet spot for sure.
well with also running Crimson Blaze as well. That is yeah, because this is really good at shutting off some decks. I think it's good against Beelzy as well, because they can't play Imp for free, and a couple other decks. But again, this can be like a really easy board wipe as well, very cheap too. So there's
but you could see, just to make room for some of those like heavier options, like 3x antibody, 2 Crimson, 3 Hades. He did have to end up cut like Cool Boys at 1, Lee is at 1.
Yeah.
I feel like those are cards you might want to bump up the count of.
Yeah, so definitely going for maybe some of the high rolliness to it, but again, you do like we are still kind of new to accepting mulligans all the time, right? And so that does mean like people get to experiment with their flexibility and their consistency because of it too, which I think is really interesting. So that is Anibal's 6th place list. And to wrap it up for this video, we do have Ariel's 8th place Ulforce. And this is a list that I've been looking at a little bit more. I do think that the new line's good. A lot of people think like Lanamon's fantastic, and I agree. I think that's a really good card for the deck. Kind of like a sleeper good card for the deck.
Yeah, just I mean, it gets this like pseudo support that ends up being just really powerful for the deck.
Yeah.
And that new option as well is kind of a blowout card.
Yeah, the Great Maelstrom. So it costs 9. When you would use this card by placing one of your blue Digimon as the bottom devolution cards of one of your other blue Digimon, reduce it by 3. Then return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. So really good removal there.
In security, that's just a backbreaker.
And you just have so many good inheritables in this deck in general, specifically like the effects of like Veemon, or you could even put like an Arrow Veedramon underneath it, so you get an additional security attack +1 underneath your Ulforces. And I don't normally see like a 4-2 or a 4-1 split between the Ulforce and Ulforce, but being really aggressive with having 3 of each, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And then the Omnimon Merciful mode is just like a little bit more umph. Plus, he de-digivolves, so you get your boss monster back. You get an additional security, and it's a silver bullet for Beals, which is probably your toughest matchup.
Yeah, I think like even by like sheer numbers, if you have a card that helps you win a matchup you're going to see all the time, yeah, I'll put a slot in my deck for that. This seems good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we're gonna see people tech in the one of Merciful mode in the decks they can, because it does just really help you gain some of that momentum back against Beals X.
Yeah, and most decks can do it. It's just since it digivolves in red, blue, yellow, and green. So as long as they're not just black and purple, which is I guess just the mirror match, right? I think this is a really solid card for those matchups. But that should be it for our breakdown today. Again, thank you very much to Tyler for not only joining me, but letting me do the stream for their event. A lot of fun. Anything from you, Tyler, before we wrap it up?
No, just honestly, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for putting together these deck lists on your website every week. It's been just really cool, not only like for organization purposes for me and the people who want to see them, but just for the community to get more, more information makes everyone just a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. I always say like card games already have like such a steep barrier of entry that if I can like unsteep it just a little bit by just having like giving someone an example deck to build and have something to earn or go towards, I think that's a really good goal, and it helps out a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
So cool. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Look out for future events. Make sure to check out Gaia Force Gaming's event next week as well. There's going to be a link to their Discord again in the description and for their future events. And that's going to be it for us. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.